Okay, vlog here on Manchester United's 4-1 win over Fenerbache last night as Mourinho's men dispatched the Turkish giants without much fuss. So, United's second win of the campaign of this big vase tournament, the erstwhile UEFA Cup, now rebranded as the Europa League. So they had a bit of a stuttering start, losing away at Feyenoord. They then managed just about to beat Ukrainian Minnows Luhansk in the second game, and then put in a really convincing display against Fenerbahce last night. So, the way in which they brush Fener aside kind of rubbishes Mourinho's theory that this is a Champions League group that they've been given. Fener are the biggest team in the group outside United, and they were just so crap last night. Returning old Red Devil Van Persie barely touched the ball in the first half. So, Fenerbahce have invested in a lot of ex-Premier League stars, the likes of Nani's no longer there, Martin Skrtel, and of course Van Persie, but they've kind of gone backwards, if anything, over the last few years. They're currently 9th in the Super Turkish League, and you could see last night that it was a team very low in confidence. They were just trying to avoid a beating last night, sitting back very deep, trying to play on the counter, but they couldn't even muster many counters. So, looking at United, the big talking point was Wayne Rooney being restored to not only the starting lineup, but to his natural striker position. So it was Rooney up top in a kind of 4-2-3-1 formation. You had Carrick and Dabman Pogba as the two holding midfielders, Martial, Juan Mata and Jesse Lingard as the three behind Rooney. And it was good to see Rooney get a good 90-minute run as a forward, and to let him go back to what he does best. For me, Jeff, this whole experiment of bringing him further back the pitch, first he was a 10, then he was an 8, and then with England they had him back as far as a number 6 as a deep line midfielder. We've seen over the space of a year now that he simply won't adapt to that position. He hasn't got the passing range or the speed of passing or the incision of passing, and you could see in his body language last night that he relished being back as a forward. He was making calls, he looked, there was a bit of the old Rooney about him. He was making good runs off the ball, he was getting on the ball, albeit being unfortunately clumsy with the ball, as is kind of too often the case with Rooney now. There was a couple of times when he tried to beat a man and Skrtel once or twice just easily defended him. Another time he was played in by Mata and he got the ball stuck under his feet. We've seen a lot of that from Rooney. He's still a bit, it's a combination of confidence, I think, and just generally his conditioning is not what it was. He's not as physically as strong as he used to be, so he's a little bit weaker and more tired looking when he does get the ball. He was sweating early on last night, actually. But having said that, everyone's bashed Rooney enough. I just think it was good to see an improved performance from Rooney, and the fans were chanting his name, and that he put in a decent shift. He didn't score, granted, any of the 4 goals, but he did assist Lingard. He was also involved in Pogba's Pogba's goal from play. Pogba also scored a penalty, and Pogba was named man of the match. It was a very good display from Pogba. First of all, scoring a penalty with the longest run-up in the history of penalties, kind of emulating J. Emmanuel Thomas, the ex-Arsenal man who likes to do this paradinha, tiny little walk-up, as he kind of crept up on his tippy toes. It was one of those, if you missed them, you were going to look so stupid, but Pogba seemed to know what he was doing and sent the keeper the wrong way. Martial then took the next penalty, and Volkan nearly got a touch that went the right way. So Martial got the second. Interesting that Rooney didn't take either of the penalties, and he only needs 3 more goals to equal Sir Bobby Charlton's record. Pogba said afterwards he just asked Rooney if he could take it, and Rooney obliged. So, Rooney kind of deferring to the bigger stars, the bigger young stars now, and I think Rooney a few years ago would have just taken that ball if he wanted to take it, but he allowed Pogba to take it, and it looks like Pogba is going to be that talisman over the next few years. So he wants to take on the responsibility of taking those important kicks. So yeah, good performance from Rooney, Pogba of course as well, and Johnny Kills. Juan Mata could have also had a shout for man of the match. He was brilliant, playing some lovely incisive passes. Like I said earlier, he played in Rooney a great through ball. Would have had an assist to his name had Rooney done better with it. Of course, I joked on Twitter at Paul_Morrissey. Feel free to follow me on Twitter. That if Mata just invests in a pair of stilts, he'll start every game, because the only thing he's lacking from his direct rival is height. Marouane Fellaini, the big, brutish Belgian, is a favourite of Mourinho's because he's 6'3.5", 4, with his afro gives him another few inches, and he can cause havoc in both penalty areas. He can defend headers and he can also score them and create chances. Mata obviously can't do that. He was infamously taken off in the Community Shield when Mourinho cited his lack of height. So I think Mata, for games where perhaps United are matched more evenly in height, Mata will get to play more, because he's just a class act on the ball. Running out of time here, just another thing to mention was Mkhitaryan. So Mkhitaryan, watching the game from the stands, and he hasn't really got a look in since the Manchester derby. He was signed for £26 million and change in the summer, and it's looking like, you know, Mourinho just doesn't fancy him. There's a theory abounding that he was kind of an add-on from super agent Mino Raiola, stockpiling players and maybe throwing them into the Zlatan/Pogba deal. We saw how Jorge Mendes wielded that kind of power at Real Madrid with Mourinho as well, those years ago when his Gesture Foot agency had was stockpiling the likes of Quantrell and Hugo Almeida. So the Mkhitaryan situation is very mysterious. We'll have to keep our eyes on that one. I'm running out of time. Thank you very much for watching this vlog on United's very easy win over Fenerbache. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, leave likes, comments, whatever you want. Hasta luego for more football vlogs/vlogs. Ciao. Thank you.